Everybody, at this time I'm going to call the Crystal City Council meeting to order. So let's start with roll call.
Councilmember LaRoche?
Here.
Councilmember Parsons?
Here.
Mayor Adams?
Here.
Councilmember Banks?
Here.
Councilmember Budichevsky?
Here.
Councilmember Deschler?
Here.
Councilmember Kaiser?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, that went well. Let's move on to the approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion on that. Oh, Julie,
I'll move approval.
thank you. Looking for a second. Olga,
I'll second that.
thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. We have our police chief here, Stephanie Revering. She is going to go through a couple of presentations. It's always great to have you here and to see what's going on in all aspects of our department. So welcome.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate it. Mayor and council members, as you know, when we hire a police employee or police officer, the mayor swears that person in. However, we realized while we were doing that we probably should swear the person in actually when they first start instead of after. So we've changed our practice. Even though we loved you swearing this person in, we're going to recognize the employee instead in front of you, which is much better, because that way they're actually following the oath at the beginning when we hire them instead of maybe in the middle of their career. Right? Okay.
I hope not middle.
Yeah, right, exactly. So Officer Marcus, if you could step forward. So Marcus started here at the Crystal Police Department as a police officer with our community on July 16th, 2018. Marcus grew up in Los Angeles, California, to his parents Stephen and Virginia. He graduated from the University High School in Los Angeles in 2010. Through high school, he was involved with the Los Angeles Fire Department cadet program. Fortunate for him and us, he wised up and moved away from being a hose dragger. Sorry, Mayor, for that comment. And Chief Larson, make that abundantly clear.
Brendan, too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
So sorry.
I
Councilmember
did the
Banks.
same thing. I left and went to. Yeah.
Right. So he wised up too then. Oh,
Yes.
good.
That's
Okay.
why I laughed so hard.
Equal
Right.
opportunity badge.
So after, I'm sorry, Marcus. They're going to go after me, not you, so it'll be okay. Okay. After high school, he held a number of positions in security and executive protection in the Los Angeles area prior to his move to Minnesota. Marcus honorably served for 6 years with the United States Marine Corps Reserves, retiring as a corporal squad leader with an infantry division. During his military service, Marcus received 6 awards and assisted in training special forces in Uruguay, Mexico, Chile, Peru, and Brazil. He completed his contract and was honorably discharged this year. I'm sorry, in 2018, actually. Or no, this year, right? 2016. Oh, see, I'm getting everything wrong tonight. See, so now he's going to. Okay. Thank you for your dedicated and decorated service to the military. Marcus has always known he did not want to spend his life in Southern California, which is a little odd too, and made his way to Minnesota in 2017. Marcus graduated from Rasmussen College with an associate's degree in law enforcement in March and is currently working on his bachelor's degree in leadership and management, anticipating graduation in 2019, which I think... I graduated. Yeah. So there we go. Okay. Marcus applied for a position with our department in February of last year, after applying for a few other police departments. He endured a rigorous hiring process, including 2 interview panels, an extensive background investigation, a full psychological screening, a physical screening, and a physical agility test. Marcus's references overwhelmingly highly recommended him and described him as being a leader, hard worker, great character, a grassroots public servant, dependable, good judgment, one of the best, level-headed, and high integrity. One reference said, "It is difficult to think of any position I would not trust Marcus in. I have complete confidence that he will make an excellent addition to our team and that he will work tirelessly to constantly increase his worth." If we were to build a profile of words that profile an outstanding police officer, most of these comments would make up that profile. In his application, Marcus said, "I don't think there's any better way to spend your day than to spend it responding to emergencies, helping people, and using every bit of downtime you have to be proactive by constantly patrolling and using each interaction you have with the public as an opportunity to shine a positive light on yourself, your department, and all police officers across the United States." Marcus has impressed every single person he's come in contact with throughout his hiring process and since he's been here so far. In his free time, Marcus enjoys anything outdoors, including running, hiking, camping, and fishing. So please join me and the rest of our department in welcoming Officer Marcus Assist to the Crystal Police Department.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Pleasure to have you.
Glad to have you here. Welcome.
You're done.
Now go to work, right?
Okay, now go to work. Get me out of here. Wow, he's got a lot to live up to. Wow. That's awesome compliments. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll continue just because I know you have a lot on the agenda. So we are also here tonight to recognize 2 police reserves. So I am going to ask Reserve Officer Harold Evanson and Reserve Officer Alex Tinkle to come forward. So, Mr. Mayor and Council, as you know, we have a volunteer reserve program with our police department. We had 2 recent promotions, and we would like to share and recognize these individuals with you this evening. Reserve Officer Harold Evanson was born at what is now called HCMC. He had originally told me his birth date, and I thought it wasn't appropriate to probably tell you how old he is. Right, Harold? They don't need to know. No. He had lived in International Falls and then on a turkey farm in Windham, Minnesota, when his parents worked for Genio Foods in Wilmer. He currently lives in Robbinsdale with his wonderful wife. I added wonderful. I felt it was appropriate for, right, Harold? Yep. And dog, and they have lived here for 26 years. He works at North Memorial Medical Center in Robbinsdale in the Environmental Services Department and has been employed there for 30 years. He has been a police reserve for the Minneapolis Police Department in the past. His words coming up, but he prefers to be with the Crystal Police Department. Of course he does, right? He has served the residents of Crystal on a volunteer capacity for the past 10 years. In his spare time, Harold enjoys building model planes and trains and donating his time to the Crystal Police Reserve Unit. So I'm going to tell you a very brief, quick story about Harold. When I first met Harold, this was years ago, when he first started with us, he was on a traffic detail, and he was directing traffic. I knew that he came to us from the Minneapolis PD, so I knew he was well-versed in traffic. If you've never seen him direct traffic, I highly recommend. In fact, maybe at the Frolics time, you'll be able to see Harold.
Excellent.
Fabulous traffic enforcement. I mean, the way that his whole body moves when he's directing traffic, it's like he's dancing. So anyway, okay. Reserve Officer Evanson was recommended for promotion by a Reserve Unit Coordinator, Sergeant Justin Tourville and Officer Mike Callan, and Reserve Captain Betters, who is here tonight. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you one of our newest supervisors, Sergeant Harold Evanson. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for all you do.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything.
Congratulations.
And standing next to me, Reserve Officer Alex Tingle was born and raised in the city of Crystal. He began his time with the Crystal Police Department in December of 2009 as a police explorer. Alex, how long have we known you? How old were you? 14. He's not that anymore, but we've known him a long time. That should tell you. He did 4.5 years as a police explorer when he was then hired in 2014 as a community service officer, which at the same time he decided to continue his volunteer work with our community as a police reserve. Alex also works part-time at the Maple Grove Hospital as a security officer. He is currently enrolled at North Hennepin Community College, pursuing a degree in law enforcement. And in his free time, he enjoys being outdoors, spending time with family and his 2 dogs, as well as attending concerts and sporting events. Reserve Officer Tingle was recommended by Reserve Coordinator Sergeant Justin Tourville and Mike Callan, and also Reserve Captain Betters, to become a sergeant with our volunteer reserve unit. So please help me congratulate Reserve Sergeant Alex Tingle.
Congratulations.
Nice work, Alex.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thanks. And I'll just quickly, just one last thing about our reserve unit. As you all know, we would not be able to do our jobs without them. The countless tireless hours that they put into the reserve unit. You see that we have several reserve officers here tonight to honor their partners. We would not be able to do our jobs without them. And since Frolics is coming up, I wanted to mention that because we would not be able to have that event without these lovely volunteers and their dedicated service to our community. So that's all I want to say about that. So thank you, all of you. Okay, last but not least, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Since this is, I think, it's a prime opportunity, how do you become a reserve police officer?
Great question. That is a great question. So our volunteer or our coordinator of the reserve program is Sergeant Justin Tourville and Officer Mike Callan. You can email either one of them. I believe we did just get done with a bunch of interviews for new candidates. We have about 20 that we can have, Nathan? 21 that we can have, and we are at not enough. Not enough, you say. So you can email one of those two individuals or come into our police department and get an application, and we can get the process going.
Is that information online as well?
It is.
All right.
Always check our website under employment and volunteer opportunities.
Thank you.
Actually, the city that's the best way to apply. We no longer have paper applications.
There we go.
There you go. Apply online.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, one more, Mayor. We're almost done. Okay, so I'm going to actually have Mark Ray come up. And no, I'm not giving Mark Ray an award. I just want to make that clear. However,
Well,
right, we are giving two of Public Works employees an award, and unfortunately they couldn't be here this evening. So I asked Mark to come up and receive these awards. So it's my pleasure to tell you that the police department would like to recognize two members of the Public Works Department tonight. And as I said, unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight. On May 31st, 2019, the Crystal Police Department was dispatched to a call of a missing vulnerable adult. Public Works Director Mark Ray heard about the call and asked the police department if we needed assistance in finding the missing person. Public Works staff divided into 4 teams of 2, with each team taking a neighborhood around the call location and one team checking along the railroad tracks. Because of Public Works employees Randy Eck and Matt Blomquist's diligence and dedication to our community, they located the missing person and immediately contacted the police department. And not only did they locate the person, but they were working in a certain area and they actually went outside their quadrant and found the individual in a different city. So because they did that, that was a very smart way of thinking that maybe the person went a little bit further than we anticipated. So for their professionalism in handling this stressful situation, it is my honor to present to them, to Mark, the Crystal Police Department Chief's Award. So thank you. I knew Mark didn't want to say something.
Well, clearly, I'm very proud of our staff, not just Randy and Matt, but all of our staff and those involved in the search. I'd also like just to kind of remind you all that you can take pride and comfort in knowing that we all work together on a daily basis, trying to bring together our skills and abilities to meet the needs of our residents under somewhat stressful and adverse conditions. I also like to say thank you because we couldn't do what we do without your support and leadership. So thank you very much.
all right. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. So next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. It's a lot less exciting as the presentations, but we will do them anyway. I'll read those into the record at this time. Approval of the minutes from the following meetings. City Council meeting from June 18th and the work session from that same date. And then the approval of the list of license applications submitted by the city clerk to the city council. That list is on file in the city clerk's office. Approval of a resolution accepting the following donations. $1,500 from Chad Greenway's lead.
15,000.
15?
1,000.
What did I say, 100?
Yeah.
$15,000, thank you, from Chad Greenwade's Lead the Way Foundation for Becker Park Play Area. We talked about that, I think, at our last meeting, and that's finally, that has come in. $10,000 from the VFW Post 494 for Crystal Frolics, $500 from the American Legion 630 for Crystal Airport Open House, $250 from Golden Valley VFW 7051 for Crystal Airport Open House. Just amazing contributions. Thank you all for those contributions, and those who worked with the companies to get them. That's awesome. Approval of a resolution authorizing a mutual access easement with Hennepin County for City Hall. That's at the Rockford Road Library campus. That is the consent agenda. Brendan?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Nancy?
I'll second.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Is there anybody here wishing to speak during open forum? Have you gotten anything? Nobody here wishing to speak during open forum? We will skip by open forum at this time. And we do have a couple public hearings. At this time, I'll just give you the purpose for the public hearing, and then we're going to go to Trudy to talk about what that is. It's to receive comment and consideration on a new on-sale dual wine, beer, and Sunday liquor license for Cajun Kitchen, doing business as Cajun Kitchen, located at 5440 West Broadway. And that's going to be the public hearing once we open it. But Trudy, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. The applicant, Chow Lin, is the owner and manager of Cajun Kitchen Restaurant, which opened in the former Wendy's location at 5440 West Broadway. Mr. Lin is seeking approval for an on-sale dual wine, beer, and Sunday liquor licenses. Staff has reviewed his license application, and the qualifications of the applicant meet Crystal City Code Section 1200. A copy of this code was also provided to Mr. Lin. A background check was completed by the Crystal Police Department, and Chief Revering finds no reason to prohibit the issuance of the license. A notice of public hearing was published in the Sun Post on July 4th. Mr. Lin is aware of the training requirements under Crystal City Code Section 1200.35, which states in part that every person selling or serving liquor with an on-sale license shall receive training regarding the selling or serving of liquor to customers. Crystal Police Department staff will be in contact with Mr. Lin regarding this requirement. Staff recommends approval of the new on-sale dual wine and beer and Sunday liquor licenses for Cajun Kitchen, doing business as Cajun Kitchen, located at 5440 West Broadway. Applicant Chow Lin is here to answer any questions. Hua is the interpreter who is with him today to assist as needed.
All right, thank you for that. Are there any questions for Trudy on this item? All right, seeing none, I will open the public hearing for testimony. Is there anyone wishing to address the council other than Chow at this moment? Anybody wishing to give testimony? Seeing nobody interested in giving testimony, we will close the public hearing. Chow Lin, would you be willing to step forward and? So, welcome. Usually we like to have a conversation with the person who's applying for the license. So it's a change in your business, from what I understand.
Okay. Okay.
I guess there's no question there. Are there any questions for Chow Lin on
Well,
this item? Go
I
ahead.
had lunch there a couple of weeks ago, and I had just asked him. I said, "Do you have wine?" "No, but we're going to get it." He said, "Oh." So I'm happy.
Oh, excellent. Good food, I presume.
Yes, it was. And I just came back from New Orleans. I thought it was just as good. So.
All right. Just as good as New Orleans. John?
I just have a question. What is your experience working in the industry in terms of serving liquor within an establishment? If you could just talk to that a little bit, and then also talk about your process in terms of preventing underage drinking.
你有什么经验在餐厅里卖酒？有什么经验对这一块？
卖酒，有没有经验？这个该怎么回答？我卖酒，我没有，我就也不是说只是去查那个身份证，卖 卖酒没什么经验
So。I don't have much experience about that, but I know before I sell the alcohol,
Could you bend that microphone towards you? They're having a hard time picking you up. Thank you.
I don't have any experience about the sell liquor, but I know I have to check the idea first before I sell it.
And that-
Can I just follow up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so with this restaurant, this would be your first experience with selling alcohol to the public?
So, sorry, I just one question.
Okay.
So 这个餐厅是你第一次卖酒对吗？Yes.
Okay. And then, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then, so have you had any training yourself in terms of, I guess, preventing underage drinking and over-serving individuals
你有没有
involving alcohol?
你自己有没有就是被就是你自己有没有喝过太多的酒？
不，没喝酒，我不经常喝酒。
I'm not drink often.
Excuse me, what's the answer? Could you tell me?
So,
What's the
he
answer?
said that he's not drink often.
Maybe I can clarify.
Yep, clarify
Okay.
the question, please.
What I'm asking is if you've had training
如果你
involving, serving liquor, what the process is in terms of, checking IDs or preventing over sale of alcohol to the public. If you had any training involving that at all?
你有没有被人家教过你怎么卖酒那些东西？
有那个我亲戚有教过我，
谁教过你？
我亲戚他就说卖酒就是
谁
要
谁
亲戚，
亲戚
我？表姐夫，
你表姐夫叫什么？
他叫林志贤，他说卖酒的话需要就是那些要写 ID，还有看那个主要是 ID，还有他说喝醉酒的如果太醉的话就不该再卖给他们了。
Oh yeah, my boss trained me before. If someone drink too much, and I cannot sell the alcohol to them anymore.
All right.
I want to jump on this. Can I?
Hold on. Just kind of to point out, I know our chief is going to have a long conversation with him, what that's going to look like.
Yes.
Right.
And I think to your point, what you're trying to say is make sure that you and all of your staff are well trained.
他说他就是想确认你就是开始卖酒，别人会来追你。
别人就是会啊，就是他不是他会过来找我们，
就是告诉你怎么卖酒吗？
对啊，他不是会打电话过来吗？
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a more specific question that you need answered?
Yeah, it was because the conversation went from this is your first experience with alcohol to, you've had training in terms of serving alcohol. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at, is that you have an understanding of the requirements that come with this responsibility, with the liquor license. So,
就是说，如果你有那个
Yeah.
卖酒的牌的时候，你需要拿哪些责任？
这个 OK，这我知道。
very good. Thank you.
All right. Yep. All right. Any other questions? Nancy?
Yeah, just to verify, Trudy had already mentioned, and it's written here that every person selling or serving liquor with an on-sale license shall receive training regarding the selling or serving of liquor to customers, and Crystal PD will be in touch with you regarding this requirement.
就是他们会告诉你要做一些什么。
And also wanted to welcome you, and I'm really excited to try your restaurant. We've heard great reviews online on social media. Very, very, very impressed.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we're looking forward to the
Yeah, big
additional service.
bibs.
Big bibs?
I love that.
All right. Well, thank you for coming forward and speaking with us.
Thank you.
All right. Looking for a motion on this item.
I can do that.
John, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the on-sale dual wine, beer, and Sunday liquors license for Cajun Kitchen Incorporated, doing business as Cajun Kitchen, located at 5440 West Broadway.
All right. Looking for a second on that?
你要卖酒在这个地方。说 yes。
I second
Go
that.
ahead.
Okay.
All right. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. It has been approved.
Thank you.
通过。
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Welcome to Crystal.
All right. All right, John Sutter is here to talk about our next item on the agenda. Why don't you go ahead?
All right, thank you, Mayor Adams, council members. This is a public hearing regarding the proposed sale of 3 lots for single-family home construction at 5168, not 5768, and 5176 Louisiana Avenue North. So just to orient everyone, and mainly for the public, because I think the council members have seen this slide many times before, but this is the Canadian Pacific Railroad track between Corvallis and 52nd Avenues. The blue parcel is in the city of New Hope. That is the Windsor Ridge development site that New Hope sold to SVK Development, and they're in the process of putting in the infrastructure for what will be a 32-home development, single-family home development. Directly east of that is property owned by the city of Crystal, which has been replatted into 3 single-family lots labeled 1, 2, and 3, right in the middle of the image. And then to the right or the east of that is what is now a legally dedicated and platted park parcel for Iron Horse Park. Prior to this, Iron Horse Park was not dedicated or reserved in any way for park purposes, and that is now no longer the case. The easterly 4/5 of the site have now been legally dedicated as park land. So we did put these 3 lots out and requested proposals from builders. We received 2 proposals, one from Tolberg Homes and one from Acacia Construction. We are recommending acceptance of the proposal from Acacia, and I'll get to that in a minute. Both builders proposed to purchase the lots for a total price of $205,000. That was the city's minimum price. And after netting out all of our expenses to make this happen, we estimate that approximately $150,000 of net proceeds from this land sale will go into the Parks Capital Fund for capital improvements to the city's park system. And that would include improvements to Iron Horse Park, which are currently being discussed by Recreation staff, Public Works, and also the Park and Recreation Commission. So the first proposal, which I don't have slides on, but I can bring it up if we have questions about it, is from Tolberg. All of their homes would be split entry homes with 3-car garages. They have different plans for each of the 3 lots, but they're all basically similar to plans that they built elsewhere in Crystal. They, of course, as split entry homes, the lower level could be finished for additional living space. The Acacia proposal, and I'll show you the images of that in a moment, they have not purchased lots from Crystal before, but they have experienced purchasing scattered site lots from the cities of New Hope and Columbia Heights. All of their homes would be 2-story homes with 3-car garages. They would not be identical home plans, but they would be the basically the same layout. 2 stories with 3-car garages. Each house would have approximately 1,000 square feet on the main floor, 1,300 square feet on the upper level, and then an unfinished lower level, but of course that could also be finished in the future for additional living space. We are recommending acceptance of the proposal from Acacia Construction. The homes have more finished and potential additional finished square footage than the Tolberg homes do, and they're more compatible with the home designs that SVK is building in the adjacent Windsor Ridge development in New Hope. So this is the site plan, it's really a sketch, of the 3 different home plans from Acacia. Again, these are the garages, 3-car garages on all 3 of the lots. Each home has a front porch, which is this smaller rectangle here, here, and here. And then the house footprint itself is the largest area you see on here. All of the homes would fit while staying out of the easements and meeting all setbacks, and so there are no issues with that. We've picked the southerly one as sort of a representative example of the appearance of the front of the home as well as the other elevations. Depending on, speaking of elevations, depending on how it works out with the survey, these may be walkout basements or excuse me, lookout basements, probably not walkouts. This drawing shows this one as a full-depth basement, but because of the way the topography works on the site, my best guess is that all three of them will have lookout basements. That's where the back of the house is, the basement is halfway out of the ground. So again, this is the unfinished lower level. You can see there's a fair amount of available square footage for future finishing. The main floor. And then the upper level, which in this particular plan, the fourth bedroom is called the bonus room, but it'll be finished with a closet and everything, so it's really a fourth bedroom, including, then there'll be 2 bathrooms and a laundry on the upper level as well. So with that, we are asking you to have the public hearing, take any comment, and obviously then there may be some council discussion or questions of city staff. And then we would like you to consider the resolution in your packet that would authorize the sale of these 3 lots to Acacia Construction. Assuming that is what happens tonight, we expect we will close on the lot sales in August, probably early August, and construction will begin shortly after that. The builder, Acacia, intends to complete at least one of the homes before the end of this year, and if they get custom sales on the other 2, they may start those right away, of course, if they get a buyer for them, but they want to at least get one home up as kind of a model. Under our standard purchase agreement terms, they have to complete all 3 homes within a year of tonight's meeting, so that would be July of 2020. They have to complete all 3 of the houses. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, and again, this is a public hearing.
All right. Are there any questions for John at this time? Nancy?
John, could you put up the overview or the bird's eye view of the lots as far as topography or the shot of Iron Horse Park in relation to the lots?
I don't have is this what you're looking for? This is sort of the concept plan.
Yeah, that'll help.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to just clarify the access to Iron Horse would be along the north side of that home.
For the
of
trail?
one of the homes, yeah, the trail.
If you like, I can walk through this.
Sure.
Okay, so
Everyone out.
these are existing parking lots that are there today, but there really aren't any trails, any pedestrian features, whatever, of any kind in the park. And the idea here is we would be able to use some of the funds generated from the lot sales to complete a trail connection that would start at Louisiana Avenue. This is where the new New Hope Street will tie into the existing Crystal Street right here. And we're already in the New Hope plans, there will be a pedestrian access ramp at that location. So we can then build a trail that would go into the park. This is just a concept drawing, but the general idea is to create a loop. So if you've got a little kid that you're trying to teach how to ride a bicycle or something, you can do loops. We'd also like to look at adding a park shelter here and then continuing that access that would tie in the 2 parking lots as well as the existing playground and the basketball area and maybe some picnic tables, and then extend it over to Idaho Avenue. So there would be a 3-block path instead of people just having to kind of walk across the grass to get into and out of the park, which is the way it is today.
And then I know it's related to this, but that Iron Horse was, that property is set now as dedicated parkland. So there will be no development, there will be improvements, the trees are staying for the most part?
That is correct. The trees kind of start right about here where the shelter is and go east from there, excepting diseased or damaged trees, which would have to be replaced or trimmed or removed in any case. There are no existing trees in this kind of westerly grassy area, so there'd be some, except on the north edge, I guess there are some trees up in here. The trail should be able to fit between the existing trees, which are too small to be shown on this drawing, but are kind of right here along the north edge of the northerly home lot. And so there's a 24-foot space there, which is enough room for the row of trees and a trail. And then the main part of the I call it the forested part of the park, because that eastern part of the park, I mean, there's a lot of tree cover there. That would largely remain. The picnic shelter would be built right about the transition between the forested east half of the park and the grassy west half of the park. So short answer is there probably would not be many tree impacts other than normal removal of damaged or diseased trees.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll state the reason for the public hearing is to receive comment and consider a resolution approving the sale of lots 1 through 3, Block 1, Iron Horse Edition, 5160, 5168, 5176 Louisiana North. And at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak on or give testimony on this? Is there anyone wishing to speak or give testimony? Seeing nobody approach, I will close the public hearing. Looking for a resolution or motion. John?
Sure, I make a motion authorizing the sale of 5160, 5168, and 5176 Louisiana Avenue North for the new house construction.
All right, looking for a second.
I'll
Nancy?
second.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Next item is disbursements of $25,000 or greater. I will read those into the record at this time. Met Council Environmental Services for July 2019, wastewater service costs of $130,159. St. Croix Recreational Playground, Becker Park Sail Shade System, $43,850. The Elysian Arts LLC loan for the fire sprinklers at 6105 42nd Avenue is $100,000. Golden Valley Joint Water Commission for May water costs is $150,234. Pembroke Companies, Inc. for Bass Lake Road Streetscape, $34,413. Waste Management for recycling costs for May, $50,321. West Metro Fire Rescue District for June fire budget allocation, $100,522. North Valley Inc. Mill and Overlay Project, $293,111. Boyer Ford Truck Inc. purchase for new Freightliner truck, $77,624. Custom Builders Inc. for Becker Park AFP number 3 for $560,338. Logis for July application support costs of $31,183. Para for employee and city required contributions from pay date 6/14/2019 of $56,161. Health Partners for July health insurance premiums $106,528. Para employee and city required contributions for pay date 6/28/2019, $56,381. Total disbursements of $25,000 or greater is $1,790,832.19. Council, are there any questions on any of these items? Any clarifications? Anything? All right, looking for a motion. Julie?
I'll move approval of the expenses over $25,000.
All right.
That's right.
Looking for a second. Brendan?
I'll second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So item 2 on our agenda is the comprehensive annual financial report. Matt Mayer is here to present the report. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In your packets, you received 3 documents which represent the final product of this year's financial audit. I've summarized them in a PowerPoint, so I think you and the audience here in the chamber at home can easily just follow along there. But if you did have specific questions about any of the documents, I'd be happy to address those as we go through them tonight. So, the city prepares financial statements each year for the public to show the results of operations and the financial position of the city. And our role as auditors is to come in at the end of the year to test, examine, give an opinion on those statements so that users can be assured they are a true and accurate picture of the city's results of operations and financial position. We are issuing an unmodified or clean audit report for the 2018 fiscal year. That is the best we can give you. And obviously it means that the numbers are true and correct. And as we look through them tonight, you can be assured this is an accurate presentation of how the year went financially for you. We do a couple of other things associated with the audit. One of those is called a legal compliance audit, where we're looking at all of the statutes that apply to municipalities here in the state of Minnesota, things like contracting and bidding, conflicts of interest, and the like. And if we have any concerns, we'll bring those to your attention. We had no findings for 2018. And then finally, we look at internal control. And internal control is a system of policies and procedures that are in place here at the city to ensure accurate financial reporting and also safeguarding the city's assets. And again, if we have concerns, we'll bring them to you. We do have one finding that you've seen in years past. It's a lack of segregation of accounting duties. In a perfect audit environment, or a perfect accounting environment, we have many checks and balances to ensure oversight over every transaction that occurs. In a smaller accounting department, it's often common that we don't have enough individuals to ensure all of those are in place. The city does have significant mitigating controls which lessen the severity of that finding, but we are going to remind you each year that it's not a perfect environment from the perspective and the threshold that we use for that. But our thanks to the city's finance team, administration throughout the process, a very smooth audit process this year, and it's very clear to us they share the same goal that we have, that's accurate and transparent financial reporting here at the city. If I may, with maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I'd like to give you an overview of the city's finances from my perspective as an outsider. I know you get good reports from your team here, but sometimes there's value in seeing things from an outsider's perspective, and I think I can provide some historical perspective and some thoughts on some of the goals that you've set for yourself and how you're achieving those. So I want to start with the general fund. The general fund's the main operating fund of the city. When you think of city operations, you think police, you think fire, you think streets, everybody here at City Hall from administrative clerk selection standpoint, that's what the general fund is about. And your role as city council members is that first column, to establish a budget, establish spending parameters for the year, and a method to pay for those. And you approved a balanced budget for 2018, and we would anticipate that your financial position would not increase or decrease if administration executed that budget on your behalf. If we look at the actual results for the year in the second column, administration's role, you're going to see that the estimates that you had established for yourself for licenses and permits ultimately didn't come to pass this year. You were short on the revenue for licenses and permits, almost a couple $100,000 there. But on the plus side, the spending for the year also was significantly under budget, mostly in the Park and Recreation Department where there were personnel savings costs. So those two issues, being under budget on both, kind of wash themselves out. We add some sales of equipment to that, and actually this year you had a small surplus in your general fund of about $88,000. Now, the end goal of that budget is to establish or change your financial position, and that's measured by fund balance. And we show a 5-year history here of your fund balance in dollars. And you can see as a city, you've chosen to spend that fund balance down each of the last several years. And from 2014 to 2017, we see that number declining steadily. And the first surplus for several years occurred here in 2018, where you had that $88,000, $89,000 surplus. We split that fund balance up into various parts. The orange part is called non-spendable. Those are checks that have already been cut for a subsequent year's spending. We have a blue portion there, which is for compensated absences, to set aside amounts for severance when employees leave with their vacation or sick balances. And what's left over is the green amount, which is the unrestricted unassigned fund balance. And that's the number that you as a city council use to evaluate the city's financial health. You've established that you want that number to be no less than 45% of next year's budget. And you can see here the green portion of the chart. Back a few years ago, you were at 52%. You were significantly over the threshold that you've established for yourself. And when I talked about that spend down, you can see that that spend down occurred not only in real dollars, but it also occurred as a percentage of spending. And if that policy is meaningful to you, I want to let you know tonight that you are below that now for 2 consecutive years. 45% was the threshold that you established. Back in 2017, you'd fallen down to 44%. And here in 2018, despite the fact that fund balance increased in dollars with the inflationary increases in your budget, as a percentage of spending, you dropped another percent to 43% in the 2018 fiscal year. I know your finance team is conscious of that, and as they prepare the budget for 2019-2020 going forward, I believe their goal is to realign you with that fund balance policy that you've established for yourself. If we look at revenue, each of the last 5 years, and actually I just want to talk about 17 to 18, revenue is actually up 5% from 17 to 18. And you're going to see in this chart that the most significant increase was in the property tax levy. That property tax levy has kind of gone up and down over the course of 5 years. We've seen some increases over the last 2 steady increases. And one thing you're also going to notice in this chart is the blue portion of the bar, the intergovernmental revenue, which is state aid, is actually gone down. Now, that doesn't mean that the city is receiving less in LGA or state aid. In fact, that number is relatively static, growing a little bit. But what you've chosen to do in the general fund is kind of wean yourself off of the LGA, knowing that you're going to be reliant on the state for that number, and make the general fund more self-supporting, more autonomous through the property tax levy. Those dollars that were LGA, that were in the general fund back in 14-15, you've rededicated those to other funds at the city for capital needs. So ultimately, if something happens at the legislature regarding that funding in future years, you're not going to be reliant on that number, going forward. Spending in the general fund for the year was also up, but it was up about 4%. So with revenue up 5%, spending up 4%, that's where that surplus occurred that we saw earlier, and moving you back in the right direction when it comes to your fund balance or financial health. I've got some new charts this year that I'm not going to go into detail on regarding your enterprise activity. We look at your utility funds a little bit differently than the general fund, not as budget-based, but more a fee-for-service type situation. So we're showing revenue in green, expenditures in dark black or maroon there, and the goal is that we're generating operating income in blue and red. And as I page through each of these funds, you're going to see that the rate structure that you've established for your water fund, your sewer fund, your storm drainage fund, and your streetlight fund are successfully covering the cost of doing business in those funds and generating operating income and net income in those funds. So I don't have any critique of those funds for you tonight, and I know you're getting good advice from your finance team regarding that rate structure and the expectations of those funds regarding financial health from an operating standpoint and a capital standpoint. I want to wrap up with 2 remaining charts here. The council and administration has asked us to kind of give you some perspective on how your finances compare to other cities in the state. And the best way for us to do that is to look at some ratios that the Office of the State Auditor puts out. Your group that they lump you in with is the cities within the state within that $20,000 to $100,000 population range. And they give us metrics on a per capita basis in relation to that. One of those metrics is intergovernmental revenue. In a typical city in 2017, we go back 2 years for the last year that we have data on that, received about $150 in intergovernmental aid from the state. Here at Crystal, that number was $137. So you're a little bit behind what an average city your size receives when it comes to LGA and the other aids and grants. In 2018, that number moved up to $159, a little bit over that average from 2017. The property tax levy is another important number to look at. A typical city your size levies $475 per citizen. At Crystal, that number was about $25 less in 2017 at $452. If we look at spending, the actual cost of running the city, not including capital or debt service, that number was $665 per citizen, average city. At Crystal in 2017, about $40 less at $628. And the overall spending, actually, you're a little bit higher than the state average when we put that capital and that debt service back in. That's because of the emphasis that the city has had over the course of the last several years when it comes to capital needs and capital outlay, street improvements and the like. You're doing a little bit more than a typical city your size when it comes to those type of activities. Final chart for you is a chart that shows 3 things. It shows the value of the property here in the city over the course of the last 5 years, the tax capacity, your levy that you have levied as a council over that time, and the most important portion of the chart is the blue line at the top, which is the property tax rate. Over the course of that time, both the market value of your property and your property tax levy have increased in real dollars. But the increase of the levy in proportion to the market value has actually declined. And as a result of that, you can see that the property tax rate here at the city 5 years ago in 2014 was bumping up against 55% in relation to your tax capacity. Despite the dollar increases in the levy over that time, the actual rate has fallen about 5%, almost 6%, to 49.2% over that time. So just to give you some perspective on the decisions you're making as a council related to the levy and the value that you're taxing here at the city. I'll leave it at that. I appreciate the opportunity from you to present tonight, and if there's anything you wanted to know about the city finances that I didn't cover or the results of our audit, be happy to stay for those questions.
All right, thank you, Matt. Are there any questions for Matt? All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, looking for a motion? If there's no discussion?
You looking for a motion?
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2018 audit and comprehensive annual report.
All right, looking for a second. John?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, last chance for questions. Seeing none. All members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, now the council is going to consider a second reading and adoption of an ordinance amending chapters 10 through 20 of our Crystal Code and a resolution approving its summary publication. We have our attorney here, Troy Gilchrist, to address the council. Welcome, Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As the mayor just indicated, this is before you for a second reading and adoption. As you recall, this is essentially the second half of the substantive corrections being made to the, well, frankly, new code that you've worked over a few years here to put in place. Even though it's really chapters 10 through 20, that's just to indicate that's the second half of the code that's being addressed here. The amendments that are actually contained in this ordinance are limited to chapters 10, 11, and 12, with the vast majority of the changes being to chapter 12, your liquor licensing chapter. And that's, as I had indicated before, primarily because, frankly, that's an awfully complicated portion of the law, and staff did a tremendous job going back through that with a very fine tooth and identifying some clarifications and corrections that could be added to make the chapter essentially function better and be more consistent with some of the fine provisions required through state law. As you recall, the kind of substantive changes that were addressed through discussion by the council at the work session related to reviving the smoking area provision that previously was in the code, and expressly providing for restaurants that have outdoor patio areas and making it clear related to the sale of liquor associated with the availability of food service on those outdoor areas if they're designated as part of the premises on which or within which that restaurant operates or that licensed establishment operates. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know you've seen this 3 different times before, so I won't belabor it. Just to remind everyone, and I've said this before, this is kind of it as far as the substantive changes to the code. Not saying we can't make other changes as the need arises, but the next thing you'll see, and hopefully sooner rather than later, though we have to really dig in on this, is a whole new code that's reformatted with a relatively short ordinance says we hereby adopt that entirely new updated code. So be happy to answer any questions.
All right, very good. Any questions from the council?
Just a comment again to thank you and the task force that put this all together with staff. It's amazing to see it come to this. And I can't wait to see a before and after of the code book.
We'll definitely work on it.
Yeah.
This to this, right?
If I might just thank you. Staff worked very hard, the task force. You know, I think I've mentioned a dozen times, I mean, they really did put in a tremendous amount of work over a couple of years going through this entire code, so.
Yeah.
One other question is,
Go ahead.
if residents want to see this current code, is it posted online yet or not until it's officially adopted, I assume?
Mr. Mayor, Council Member, that's a great question. So everything is online right now, but it's not together yet. So there are, I think the first, 6 or 7 chapters that were updated. Mm-hmm. Those are included. But after that, staff kind of realized, let's wait because we're going to go back through and reformat all this. And so there's a section on your website that says amended but uncodified or something like that. So if you click on that, each of these ordinances that you've been adopting are there. So everything is available to the public. It's just that this next step will bring it all together into a single uniformly formatted code. So that's what we're shooting for.
Thank you.
All right. Looking for a motion? Brendan?
All right, I make a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of the ordinance,
right.
chapters 10 through 20.
All right. Looking for a second?
I'll
Nancy?
second.
Thank you. Last chance for questions, comments. Seeing none. All members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right.
Summary resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Looking for a
You want to
motion.
finish it?
Did I do it? I say it wrong?
No,
No,
you
no,
did it
this
right.
one, there's two.
It's two parts.
Oh, two parts.
Two parts.
Oh, okay. Can I-
Yep.
All right. I make a motion to approve resolution approving summary language for publication of ordinance number 2019-03.
All right.
And
thank
I
you.
will second again.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Next, the council will consider an amendment to the West Metro Fire Rescue District Joint Powers Agreement. We have City Manager and Fire Board Representative Ann Norris here to address the council.
Thank you. This is really just a housekeeping item. At this year's West Metro Fire Rescue District audit, it was noted that we are not compliant with the state law regarding having language regarding disbursements on the back of our checks because the fire district is following the law for home rule charter, but our bylaws and JPA talk about following the laws for a statutory city. So we just have to flip-flop the language so that we're following the law for a charter city regarding the disbursement, language on the back of disbursements.
All right. Very good. Any questions for Ann on that? John?
Sure. And how many years have we been non-compliant then?
Only since the law changed in 2017, so we're right on it.
Okay.
Right on it.
Yeah, that's generally how it goes.
That's why you have an auditor.
Yep. Yep. I received a few letters there from her on the fire department. So, okay. Looking for a motion on that, John.
Make a motion to approve the amendment to the West Metro Fire Rescue District Joint Powers Agreement.
All right. Thank you. Looking for a second, Brendan.
I second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. We do have some announcements before we let you go. Crystal Business Association will be meeting Wednesday, July 17th at 8:30 a.m. in the community room, and it's hosted by Associated Bank. Crystal Frolics is being held at Welcome Park from July 25th to 28th. Please look up their information on their website, crystalfrolics.org, for all information going on with Frolics. Saturday, August 10th is the Crystal Lions Corn Feed, the Antique Car Run, the Hot Rod Show, and the Feed My Starving Children mobile pack. And that's at the Crystal Community Center. All those items.
It's going to be busy.
Yeah,
It's going to be busy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be.
Can I add to that announcement?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going from 11 to 4. Go ahead.
Yes, so it's going to be, well, $6 all you can eat corn for children under 4 is free, right, Julie? Mm-hmm. A free hot rod show. If you can't tell, I'm kind of excited about this. And then the Feed My Starving Children mobile food pack. That's where we really need everybody to kind of get involved in the community. The goal is 300,000 plus meals to be packed in that time frame. So that means we need over 1,360 volunteers across 3 shifts. Those shifts are 9 to 11, noon to 2, 2:30 to 4:30. And that's that one. So I mean, I think it's going to be something that's really fun. I know everybody that's kind of involved in that will be reaching out to different community groups, but if you're watching online or if you're here, you can please feel free to your business, your family. It's just a fun event, and we're feeding starving children.
Yeah. A lot of organizations can come, businesses, clubs, civic organizations, churches, families, get a team and sign up. Nancy, go ahead.
Just wanted to add, I didn't see it in here, but is there also an arts exhibit or some booths and vendors that will be?
Art in the Park.
Art in the Park is
also-
also in there. I just forgot.
On the same
Wanted to
day?
make sure we promote it
Yes.
too.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Part
Where's,
of the Corn Feed. That is a busy day.
Yes.
That'll all be at the community.
where's John
center.
at?
One big, close-knit community.
I know, that's
All
going to
with the
be,
community center.
that's going to be amazing.
So, yeah, this is growing every year, probably the last 3 years. It seems like we bring something in. Do we have a band playing this year?
I believe the Community Outreach Task Force is still working on finding artists.
Okay, that may happen.
sure.
That's a nice touch when you're
That was.
going through looking at the cars to have that entertainment option. So we'll try to get that set up for
I'll
you.
find that out too, and let you know,
Yeah.
from the Lions vantage point.
All right. Serenity Village Community Church Village Fest is Sunday, August 11th from noon to 6 p.m.
Yeah, correction.
That is wrong, isn't it?
Yep.
What is the time?
The time is from 2 p.m. to dusk, whatever that's what's on. That's the official time. And I've got more information on that too.
Yeah, that one's kind of interesting. It's open to the community, free food, good food. Why don't you go ahead with some more detail?
All right, so I probably will slaughter this name for anybody who is a big fan of. It's John Kadalchik. Did I say that right? Kadalchik. So Dark Star Orchestra. A lot of people know him from there. The Big Woo, Heat Box. Those are all the people performing. There'll be bounce houses, dunk tanks, petting zoo, face paint, airbrush, and balloon artist. The food will be a pig roast. There'll be brats, burgers, hot dogs, snow cones, cotton candy. There'll be a lot of stuff.
And that's all free.
And that's all free, yes. That's a free event for anyone to come. So.
Yep. So that
You're
seems
going to get a busy weekend at your church.
yeah.
Yes, it's going to be a very, very busy weekend.
Very busy. All right, our next Crystal Council meeting is Tuesday, August 20th at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Local organizations are invited to come and lead the Pledge of Allegiance at any council meeting. Please contact city staff if you're interested. Council meetings and work sessions are open to the public. Feel free to come down, or you can watch online. Previous meetings are available for viewing and listening. That includes work sessions on our website, crystalmn.gov. Do we have any other announcements that we missed? Go ahead.
If I could just add on to the Crystal Frolics coming up, starting Thursday, July 25th to the 28th. As you all know, Becker Park's getting renovated, so we're at Welcome Park this year. Just wanted to emphasize that. With that, because it's a neighborhood park, we have very limited, if little or no parking in that area. However, we have free shuttle rides from 3 different schools. So I wanted to reiterate, because some of the schools vary on which days they offer their service, but you can find everything at crystalfrolics.org or the Crystal Frolics Facebook page.
Right.
It'll be a lot of fun this year. A little different, a little smaller, but lots of fun.
This is just until we get Becker Park, that'll be smaller.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see the softball tournament at that new field.
Yeah.
Because that outfield is extended, it's bigger, and
Yes.
so these guys can hit it out of the park at will. They limit how much they can hit it out of the park
And if
for
I
the tournament.
could, yeah, on that note, we are having a dedication to that new park and new softball field, which
Right.
will be throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah.
We've got
I'm hoping for a good catcher.
the fence is high, thankfully.
No, not speed. It's going to go.
And we'll also have the VFW Color Guard there performing, and we'll have Star Spangled Banner. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have our first pitch and a home run derby that night as well, in between games.
Yep.
It'll be a lot of fun.
When is that?
Starts Thursday, July 25th through Sunday, July 28th.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the additional detail. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, council members. I just wanted to mention Night to Unite quick. As you know, it's Tuesday, August 6th. This year's a little bit different because normally we have an open house here at the Crystal Police Department. And I wanted to mention to the viewing audience that is being changed, and we're actually going to have one in the spring of next year so that all of you can focus on the parties. Last year we had over 75 parties. This year we'd love to see a lot more with all of us and you going out to those parties. So thank you. I just wanted to mention that quick.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chief, for bringing that up. That snuck up on me.
We've got a lot going on in our community.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
really
what we
excited
want.
about
That's
it.
what we want. All right, I am looking for a motion to adjourn. John?
So moved.
All right, Nancy?
I will second.
All right.